Like, do you have any doubt that you wanted to ask, or we can start? So in the today's session, I will try to first complete there are some of the remaining topics, uh, which is sometime you will be using those things. So I will just go through the concept one by one and show you how you can achieve that. Apart from that, we will I'll give you also like there is one advanced. So we have already gone through some of the consolidation exercise into it. We have seen how we can implement the things using all the stages. Now there is one advanced consolidation exercise. So I'll share you the BP release file of same, and then there are steps like what you need to do step by step. So I will say like you start practicing on the same, and then come back and let me know what doubt. So what we'll do like from tomorrow and day after tomorrow we'll take. So we'll also go through that advanced consolidation exercise and also take your doubts. What all doubts that you have into it. Okay. So in that way we can cover each and everything. uh and one more thing like so see this thing there are some things, right? I mean uh like surface automation and this thing, it is really like at this stage, since cannot have access to that environment, I will enable to show that. But in case if I get some, I mean I'm not sure because all the firewalls are blocked, so I cannot share through that environment. I'm not sure how can I replicate the surface, but whatever the basic things are there, I'll try to share with you, in tomorrow or day after tomorrow session, like how we can do that, like at least the approach to do it, right? Because most of the things will remain same, just that in business object, once you are going and spying the element, it is more kind of doing the OCR of the image, right? And so OCR is nothing but what happens like in surface automation. Since you log in through Citrix, you cannot get hold of the particular element, right? The XPath, like the path of the file or the index, you cannot get hold of all those things. So you, instead of that, you try to read the image of the particular object. So that is what we call OCR. So optical character recognition, and you have different optical character recognition through which it try to read the content of the particular image. So using that, we will be I will try to give you some example through which we can achieve that. But for now, let's concentrate on whatever we have left from the existing topic. So there is one more example that I want to show regarding, let's say if we have any website, so how we can read the content of a table from the website. Let's say if I have a website, let me open one website. So so London Stock Exchange. London, let me just open one, yeah, this thing. So here I'm just taking this particular example because here we can fetch the particular table. So let's say, I mean, you sometime you'll get a requirement where there is, let's say there is a site, and from there you have to read the entire content of this table, and you have wanted to perform some operation internally, right? I mean, maybe you wanted to add the prices, or you wanted to get the item which has highest values, something like that, right? How you can achieve that? So there is a feature in Blue Prism. So I mean, first thing what you will try to do, so first you will be going and creating an object. So let me give a name, table. Okay, now here first thing is you'll be going and creating one application modeler. So this is a browser based application. So you're selecting the browser and a browser that is launched from an executable file. So you'll give that IE and then you'll assign the URL of the site. So let me take this particular URL and assign here. Next, all default, and then this got created. Now you have launched the site. Now you wanted to first get the first table. So top 10 risers. So you want to get top 10 risers, let's say. So identify. So you can see that as soon as I do identify, it changes it to HTML mode, right? Because it's a web-based. So defaultly is chosen the HTML mode. So once you see, so now I can able to grab the particular table content in this green whatever area. So now you'll press Control and left click. So as soon as you do it, you get all those values. Once you highlight it, it's able to highlight the entire row table, and you can say apply. Then again, you want to add one element and say that top 10 fillers. So again, you wanted to identify it. Left click, Control and left click. Let me identify again. I think it didn't do that. Okay. Here also the tag name that you can see is a table, right? So once you highlight it, it will highlight the entire table, and then you can apply. Click on OK. Now you have got hold of these two tables, right? Now what I wanted to do, so I have created my application modeler. Now I basically want to read the first table. Okay, so let's say it's this top 10 and here you want to just give top 10 risers, and then what the data state should be. So you wanted to use the data state as get table. So you wanted to get the entire table. So as soon as you check the get table content, right, this is going to store the value in a collection. So it will pull the entire data set into collection. So you can say that top 10, you can create one collection, top 10, and you can, it will just create it and it will store the value there. Accordingly, you can create one more Redis stage.
We don't need to define the data type here when it's going as collection.
So data type, so whenever you choose this particular, okay, let me first bring it here. So whenever you choose top 10 failures, right? So what is happening when you choose this particular action, get table, right? So when you choose get table, it is trying to bring the entire table content. So the data type automatically will be collection.
Okay, it could be text or word. It will just
Yeah,
take.
exactly. That's right. So data type automatically gets selected as a collection, and then you can store it into accordingly. So I create other collection. Okay. Now let me just connect it. All right. So I have created my collection and I can just rename it, the action as read table. And the next thing that what I wanted to do is I wanted to publish it also, right? In order to be reflected into my process stage. So just saved it and then, okay, then go to my process. Now here in the process, what I wanted to do, I can bring one action stage here and then, yeah, then I will link it. So in the action stage, I can just say get table. So let's say that read table, right? Now, obviously there is no input and output, but in order to get the value, what we can do, so you can again go to this particular object studio, and then you can say that, I wanted to pass the entire collection to my process. So first what I do, first I will see here how this works, okay, and then we will pass it on accordingly. So set next stage, and then, okay, yeah, before doing that, obviously you wanted to launch it also, right, before reading it. So for launching it, you have a navigate stage that you can use, and then you can bring this particular object and say launch. Yeah, let me run step by step. Launched. So you see in top 10 rows, it got the values. Whatever the value was there is there here. It all imported the value into this collection. Then accordingly, it moves all the value for the top 10 failures in the current collection. And then if you wanted to pass these values to the main collection, then what you can do, like and here you can define as collection, and here you are storing the value in top 10, so you can give this, and again you can define as a collection, and then top 10 followers. So this is how you can, till now we are passing the all this other data type, but you can see that you can pass the entire collection also now. using the input stage. So yeah. Okay, I think okay, but the main thing is, see, the thing is you wanted to pass this as output, right? Because what I wanted to do, I wanted to get hold of this data and wanted to pass to my main process. So instead of that, you will not be defining in your input. So you'll be defining in your output, right? So you go to your in the stage and define the output here. Because I just wanted to have a requirement where you grab the data from the website and pass to your main process, and then there you can do all those operations. So top 10 collection, then collection, yeah. So I have added the values here. I've deleted it, yeah. Just refresh it. So once you go in output, you can see that a collection already output collect created. Just click on this. So this two collection got created, and now these two collections should have the value, get the value from the object class. So what happens once you run it? Let's see. Okay, failed to perform step 1 in the read stage. Top top 10 on page read table, no element match the supplied query term. So just give important to these messages also, because they ask these messages in certification exam. Sometimes they will give some scenario where they will say, no, this message is coming. What is the exception may have happened? So this message means that it's not able to find out the item which you have defined in the read stage, because it quickly came to the read stage, and like the site was still loading up. So it's like the item was not available, but it was looking for the item. So what we can do in this stage, obviously we can add the wait stage. So let's say if I add a wait stage here, yeah, so I can define a condition that until and unless top 10 risers are not exist, just keep on waiting it, and I can define the wait out time as 10 seconds. Then I can just link it. Yeah. So if you see that this time it ran the process and then it captured the value that we have captured in the object and passed to the main process. And now here, whatever you wanted to do with this collection, you can do it. So basically, then again, let's say you wanted to import that into Excel file and send as an email, that also you can do. So these type of requirement you will be getting like working on the processes. So this was just an example to show you so how we can do it. Any doubt in this? Okay. So now let me give you one more thing that we have. I want to take. So There is one option for the credential manager, right? Like there is a how we use credential manager in our processes.
That is
So yeah, go ahead.
so when we're giving this web address, right, the London Stock Exchange, should we
Mm-hmm.
give the exact path or we should specify it where is the table and so on? So we have to copy
Pardon,
the exact.
pardon, come again. I am not able to hear you properly.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so for example, we have these tables, risers and fallers in this link, right, in this path. So we have to give exact web address path, this specific path. Only then it will recognize these tables are here.
So this URL you are talking about, this particular
Yeah, yeah,
URL.
yeah.
Oh, it's not required. I mean, the thing is, let's say if you wanted to come here, right? If you are there on main page and you wanted to come on that page, right? So let's say if I click on view all,
Mhm.
if I click on view all, then it's take me to the particular page here. Okay. So you can define a home page, you can give the URL of home page, and then maybe you can define one action to click on view all. Okay.
Okay,
And
okay.
then here you
Well,
can read the table. Like there are so many tables, right? You can read all the tables, and then based on that, whatever you wanted to do, you can do that.
okay, got it.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
and other things, when we import this data into a collection, so we are getting this symbols also, right? Apart from the data, like minus 15.86. So is there a way that we can separate this, you know, indications and capture only the data? That's another process.
So when you are adding into collection, by default it added, right? I mean, uh, but here, like, once you have added it to collection, uh, then you can do some sort of processing. You can apply some logic to eliminate, but there is no out of box like the Blue Prism provide to eliminate it. But you can play around with the collection and you can do it. Like after
Yes,
collection,
yes.
you wanted to loop again and yeah, do that all those. But there's nothing called default because here it directly read the entire content and put into collection like that.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, got it. I understood. Thanks.
Yeah. So yeah. Now let's see about credential manager. So here basically see when I'm going and doing a sign in here, so in this object I'm providing the username and password. Okay, so here the username and password I'm providing from the main process. I mean, it's coming as a input parameter from the main process. Now let's see, this is my main process, and as soon as I launch it and I go in doing a sign in. So here in credential manager is something like what happens, like you don't want to give the hard coded value or assign some values in the variable for your username and password and try to pass it on. So because the username and password are kind of I mean sensitive data, and so you wanted to have some security mechanism applied, and those should be passed on dynamic basis to the particular launch or login page. So how you should be doing it ideally, so there is an option in Blue Prism where you go in system manager, and in system manager if you see we have one option called credential in the security tab. So as soon as you click on credential, below the credential there is a encryption schemas. So let's say I already have an encryption schema, but if there is no encryption schema available when you open the particular tab, then what you can do, you can define a new. So as soon as you define new, you can give the particular, let's say, database and the name of the database, and then define the, as soon as you click on OK, it will generate a key for you. So like this. So I define, let's say, credential key and database. So uh, it generated a key here, some random key, which is a kind of encryption applied for the credential. And once you, after doing that, once you go to the credential, here you can define the credential for yourself. So let's say I say order. So I just give some random name, and then so here you can see application credentials. So username, let's say I give admin, password admin, and then you can define the expiry date also, when it's going to expire, something like that. So let's say I define 30 May, and then here you can define the access right. So you can choose a particular process to which you can define the access right, and accordingly. Resources also you can select everything. Let's say I select all this role. So role also you can define, like, this should have access to system administrator or developer or tester, what role the person the should have access to. So once you define everything here and click on OK, so this particular credential get created. So once this is done, yeah, so if you go to here, now once you go to your main process, right? So let me just delete this link. Now there is an action stage here. Let's say get credential. Now what I can do, there is an option, there is an action, internal action called credentials, and here one of the action is get. So here you can give the credential name that you have defined, so which is a text. So let me just get the name. So the name was nothing but order. So here I'm getting the name of my credential, and then what I do, like I define the password in the password field and the username in the username field. And here also you can get the expiry and all that we have defined there, but it's not required right now. So here you are passing the username and password in the input parameter. So let me link it, create a breakpoint here. Yeah, let me run this process. Okay. Now you can see here, whatever we have defined in the credential manager, once we have came to this particular stage, the admin and like it got the value admin, and whatever the password that we have defined, it got the password. So even if you don't give anything here and just run the process, so you can see it's able to launch with a particular username and password. So this is what I mean, the way of doing it, using the credential manager, how you can achieve it. Now there are few things which I just wanted to take from this queue point of view. So already we have taken the main idea, like main concept of the queue we have already discussed. There are few small things which then and there, based on your requirement, you will be using it in your process. So let us go through it. So let's say the scenario is first thing we wanted to discuss is a tag. Tag we have already discussed, which I'll just show you how you can use it, and then we'll take it from there. And priority, right? Pretty much how you can define the priority of the items. So let's say you have two collections, right? So I'll manually create a collection here. So you can say collection A, you can give name A, and you defined two field name and age. So and you can define other collection. Let's say city and state. Just give some random name. Okay, so I have two collection, and then what I wanted to do basically, the first thing I wanted to do is add my collection to the queue, right? So for adding my collection to the queue, and before that I wanted to, let's see what particular queue I have. So let's say I have a test queue. Let me delete all the data that I have here. All right. So I have I have one of the queue called test queue. So if you see here, I can go and define the test queue name. Define one more item here. Say name. You can define the name here. Okay. So what I'm going to do here, first thing is I wanted to take the key name, right? So whenever we are going to add to the particular queue, I wanted to identify the particular item in the queue with a particular unique name. So whenever you are going to add your collection to the queue, so in order to identify which item is getting processed, you will always want to have some key name given to the queue. So let's say if you come to control room and you click on your test queue process, so there should be some item key through which it's defined, like which item is getting processed. So for that, what you can do, like you can define the particular item queue here. So once you go into your work queue, so here you can say that whatever you have chosen here as name, so you can use this as your key name. and you can say apply. For now, don't have any maximum attempt as one only. Say apply. Now you have applied it, the settings, and then go to the particular item. Now what you wanted to do is like you wanted to first add to queue. So for adding to queue, you have one of the option here, internal work queue, and then it say add to queue, right? So you can define the queue name here, and then which queue you wanted to process. So let's say if I take A, and then I have priority and tag. So first me take the priority. So the priority is something which is you defined the particular item. So the lower the, so the number increase from 0, 1, 2, 3. So let's say if you define priority 1, so it will have the highest priority. If you have defined 2, it will have priority less than 1. So the item which is defined with priority 1 will get processed first after the item defined with priority 2. So let me, if I select a priority 1 here, okay, and click okay. Then click other action. Select collection B, priority I define as 2. Okay. Now, once we have added the collection to the queue, what I wanted to do is I wanted to pick the item from the queue and start processing it, right? So for that, what I wanted to do is basically I'm going and taking a decision state and say that if, okay, before that decision state, what you wanted to do, so you wanted to take the first item from the queue. So for that, you have an action stage called get item, and once you go to your work queue, say there is a get next item. So here you can define your queue name. Right, and then you can select your item ID. So you can generate one item ID and collection data. Once done, you can select OK. Now, as soon as you have picked one item, and what you are going to do, you are going to check if the item ID which got generated is blank or it is still not blank. If it's still not blank, it means we can still process it. So item ID should not equal to blank. Then what you wanted to do, let's say I create one page called process, and I call this page from this page. So If the item ID is not blank, then what it will do, it will go and uh, check the process. It will process this particular page and it will go and get the next item. So before doing that, what it will do, like we wanted to complete the item also. So I'll say like mark complete. And I'm still processing the item ID. So I can take which item ID and mark as complete. Now, what happened once I process this particular this thing, what it will do, and so let me see like what happens first, and then we'll see accordingly. So let me click this to end stage. So we'll mark a breakpoint here. Yeah. So you see all these item got locked here. I mean, it's called added to the test queue. Okay. Now let me step into it here. So you see that the first one got locked because it has the highest priority. Then you step over and once it's completed, this item got processed. Now it's going and taking the next item. So the next item with the same priority 1, it picked up. And then marked it complete. So you see, so all this priority first item got processed first, and then when it's going and taking the next item, even though these two items were on the top, so but since we have defined the priority as 1 as first, so it picked the first. So when we say step over, now we have processed all the 4 items. See, all the 4 items got processed. Now here, once it passes the get item, the item ID is blank. There's current value, there's no current value, right? So here it's checking the, if item ID is having some values, no value, then it is coming out of the loop. See, so this is how, basically this is the concept that you'll be incorporating in any of the process where you are building the queue concept to define if there is any, you say you get some requirement where you say that you have 2 input collection, which is you are supposed to add, but you need to process the item for collection A first, and then you wanted to process the item for collection B. Then for once you are adding to queue, then you can define that, all these items should have priority 1 and then the other one should have priority 2. So once you have processed everything from the A collection, then you can go ahead and process the B collection. So that's what the priority thing is, the concept of priority. So I think it should be clear to you. Now what we will do, there is other option here. So instead of priority, let's say I define some tag. So what is tag? So tag is nothing but, I mean, there's something unique item that you wanted to define as part of whenever you are going and adding to the queue, you wanted to define that this is kind of some unique property of the particular particular line item in the queue. So let's say you are adding employee data into the queue. So for assume that uh, you wanted to add some tag which says that uh, maybe employee number. I mean, this something, I mean, just for example, when you go here in the control room, right, you see a tag. So whenever you're going and adding the data from the collection to the queue, and you say that all these items in particular collection, when you are adding to the queue, give some tag. So tag you can give at the time of, whenever you are adding at runtime. So based on the tag, so let's say you define a tag X to one of the items, I mean some of the items for collection A, and then tag Y to some of the items, I mean to the collection B. So whenever you are adding collection A, all the items will have the tag as X, and when you are adding collection B, all the item will have tag Y. Now the main thing is why you wanted to add tag is basically you wanted to first, let's say you wanted to first process all the item which have tag A. You don't want to wait for, you know, the different items. Also, I forgot to say, like, see, since we have defined the name there, right? So then item key, you got all those uh, the unique name here, because this is what we have defined in system manager, the unique proposition. So that's what I mean. The main idea of defining the tag is, so based on the tag value, let's say if I have a requirement where uh, there are three type of different applications. Okay, application A, application B, and application C. And I am getting the data from all three application into different collections. Now, I will be obviously adding all these collection into queue, right? Let's say I add first collection A, collection B, and collection C, which are coming from different applications. Now I wanted to process first application A. So what I wanted to have a common tag to define all the element of collection A. So, and then common element to define all the collection which is coming from application B, like that. So that whenever we are doing a get next item, uh, we take the particular item from that collections and process it. So let's see example here. So what, let me, okay. So first what I can say, like, let me define one. So I'll delete the priority here. And what I say, like, I define a tag, let's say as tag X. Okay. And here for the B, I define tag as tag Y. So this is tag X and this is tag Y. Now, whenever you are doing a get next item, right? What you can say, like as an input, you can see there is two options you have, key filter and tag filter. So as I've told you, like, whenever you are getting the next item, you can apply this particular concept to fetch the item with the unique tag or unique value first and then process it. The same concept applied to filter also. So in filter, what you wanted to do, let's say if you wanted to process all the item for the hurry first. So what you can say that, you can say that for the particular uh, collection, uh, with the, with the title list, like the name, employee name is equal to hurry. So when you filter with the particular attribute and define in key filter, all the item with the particular attribute get filtered out and then it will process first. And after that, the next item will be taken. So accordingly, for tag filter, you can define. So whatever you have defined before, let's say you wanted to process the tag X first. Okay. And output you wanted to store in item data and data collection. So it will first process your all the item belong to tag X, and then once it's completed and once you go to the next, again what you can do, again you can define the get next get item, get next item. So queue name test queue, and then tag filter is tag Y. Okay, so here just define tag X, tag Y. So we have defined the tag here. Okay, yeah. So same here. Again, you will define a decision state, and then you'll add one page, and then mark complete. And for when you are doing this get next item, right, you'll be generating some different output, not the same output, because the initial item ID was for the first set of queue, the collection that you have added to queue. So here, let's say you generate some item ID new, data new. Okay, so yeah, now accordingly, you can go and check in your decision state that the item ID that you have created new is not equal to blank. So let's see, I mean, this is how we process based on tag status, right? So let me add a breakpoint here, and let me just delete all this item from here. Let me run this. Okay, so you see all this item added here, and as I've added all the item here, all have priority 0, and you can see that the tag has also been updated X, Y, X, and Y in random order when they have added. Now, once you do step over, item ID got generated, and it take the item based on the tag name. Now, once you go and refresh here, so you see that the item with tag X got processed, and as soon as you go and do a step over, the next item with tag X get a lock on it. That is how you process the two tag item with the two tag first, right? It get processed, mark complete, it comes out, and then it check for the tag with Y. So you can see item ID new got created, right, for this thing, and accordingly you process it. Yeah, so here what we did, instead of this item ID, you have to give item ID new, right, because you're marking this complete. So all your item get processed. So first all your tag X get processed, and then your tag Y get processed. So this is what the concept of tag is. This is how you can efficiently use your tag concept. Now what happens, there are some scenario where your process might get into exception, and then you wanted to retry based on it, right? So what you wanted to do, you wanted to defer some of the items which is coming into exception. So there's a retry concept, right? You wanted to retry the exceptions item. So as I've already told you, so there is option here in the system manager. You could go in the same work queue. So let's say if I define to try for 3 times. So let's say first time when it go into exception, it will create a 2 replica of same. So attempt 2 and attempt 3, right? And it will try to attempt the second and third subsequently. But what I wanted to do, I wanted to defer these 2 items, which is there in exception, for a later stage. Like I wanted to define some time that, I don't want to process the exception item now. If there is exception, let it be an exception, and then I wanted to keep on continue. And then whenever this time will come, right, whatever time that I have defined, let's say for I have got a requirement like I wanted to process all the item, and then if there are, let's say out of 10, 2 items got into exception, I say that these 2 items since are exception, I don't want to try now. Business say that after the business hour, like after, let's say after 6 p.m., you go and retry again. If again it process, well and good. If it's not process, mark it as exception and send it. So that's why you use the defer option, right? So you wanted to defer the item for a later stage. So once you have defined it, click on apply, and then you can go to control room, and then yeah. Now what I can do, okay, so here let's say in this particular process I just delete this particular link, right? So deliberately I am trying to create some exception here. So I want this particular block to go into exception. So to handle the exception, what I'll do, I will create a block here, right? Okay. Now obviously this process will go to the exception. Now how I will handle it, so I will add a recover state here, and then I wanted to resume. After resume, what I wanted to do, I wanted to mark it as exception. So work use. Now what is the item ID? So item ID was item ID that for the first tag. Here you can define your own exception region. What was the exception region? So let's say data not found. And here there's a retry, right? So you can say that retry is true, keep logged. So it wanted to log those items for process at later stage. So you say log it as true, and then say new item. So leave it as of now with this all these item and click on OK. So let me link all this first. So what I'm doing in case of I'm getting any exception in this process, so instead of marking complete, I'm recovering it, going to resume and marking it as an exception. So as soon as I mark it as exception, I wanted to add one more action state here. Say defer. So in work queue, you have a defer item. So you can select the particular item ID which you wanted to defer, and what time you wanted to defer you can define here. So till what time you wanted to again retry it. So let's say you can add some make date and time here. You can define the day. So today let's say this or 0904 day month year 2018 hours. So you can define in 0 to 23 hour format. Let's say you wanted to try after 6 p.m. right? So okay, so after 18 minute 00 second 0, give it false. This is local. Okay, then paste it. So this is the time I wanted to again restart it. Click on OK. And then obviously I want to go and grab the next item. Okay, yeah, I know this error. So I will put a breakpoint here, probably here. Delete all these 4 items. Okay, so all the 4 items are added to the queue. Saying step over. Yes, there. Go to process. Now process will not process because it will come into exception. It captured the exception. Go to resume. It mark as exception. So here if you see, it processed the first item tag X here, and because there was a problem it marked as exception, and whatever exception reason that we have defined data not found got captured here. Even if you come here in the exception reason data not found, you will see. And this is the exception. And since we have gave the retry as true and we have defined to retry 3 times, right? So you can see that attempt, the first attempt is 1. Now it is trying to do the second attempt, right? So this particular got locked. Now, what I wanted to do, this particular item, which I marked as exception, I wanted to add as defer. So if I click on a step over, if you go and refresh it, so you see this particular item. Yeah, so this particular item, the one that was got processed, hurry, for the next review. So we have added a next review, like, at this time, again, try to process it. It is showing some system generated time, but the time that we have defined, it is accordingly. If you see, this time date was 9th of April, and then the time it is showing here 00 second, but the formatting, it's taking some different time, but that is fine. So it is saying that again this process will keep on this stage, pending stage, and it will again get processed at this particular time. So this was the concept of defer. So in case of, wanted to add the exception item to defer stage, so you can use that particular option. Yeah. So I hope this is clear to you. So moreover, in the queue, if you see, these are the most, these are the some items which you will be using based on the requirement, right? When you'll get this sort of requirement. So to tag in queue, how you'll be using, how you'll be retrying it, how you're going to differ, and then obviously how you're going to filter, right? So filter is same as nothing but tag. So based on, you can define the item column name based on which you wanted to get the next item, and accordingly you can process it. Yeah guys, so pretty much this, I think I've tried to cover the topics which I have, and I think I left, or was not covered. So is there anything else that you wanted to cover, or what's your view, like, or we can proceed with consolidation exercise now, because as per my knowledge, pretty much we have covered everything, every concept which we have in Blue Prism. And then it's just a matter how you, there's different way of doing the same thing and using it. So it's up to you, how you can use it. But concept wise, we have covered everything. So Venkatesh, Anil, Charan, do you feel anything that else that you wanted me to take, or what's your view? If there anything, if you see that if I have missed, I can retake it.
So Karan, just question here. This debug we are seeing on the menu bar, right? Is it same as stepwise review?
Yeah, so this debug, right? And yeah, it's a good point. Actually, you will get 2-3 question on debug state also in the certification examination. So this you see step, right? So it take step by step, like it will go step by step from one point to other point, right? And this is step over. So let's say if I step into it, then it will go inside the process. I don't want to go inside the process. I wanted to complete the entire step at one go. Then I will say step over. So you can, for a step, you can click on this also, step, or there is, you can click on function key in your keyboard and then press on F10. So accordingly, you can do it the way you want. And breakpoint, obviously, you can add wherever you want to stop your process. So it will go run to till a breakpoint, and then from there, if you are calling any other process, it will go inside the process. You can see the processing, what the data that is retrieving, and then you can even it will go to the object. So accordingly you can debug it. Is it fine, Anil?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's the same. So even the menu and the buttons are actually describing the same, right? If I click on
Right.
debug, for example, can you click on debug on the menu bar?
Yeah,
So
same
it
thing.
has
Yeah,
the
yeah,
same
same
thing.
thing. Yeah. Oh, same thing. Yeah, you were asking this. Okay, yeah, the same thing.
So
So same.
focus debug stage, is there anything different here?
Focus debug stage. I mean, no, it's nothing different there. I mean, I don't see anything. We use focus debug stage. It's mostly like we're using a step go, step out, a step over, pause, and reset. And validation is just to see if you have any error or not.
Okay.
Yeah. And you have help also here if you wanted to go to any documentation from here also you can go. You can see the content. So pretty much you defined a lot of thing here.
So Karan, I was also actually looking at file drop down uh, just to understand what are so this backup means what is that?
Okay. So backup is nothing but like I mean you can define like it can automatically save up your data like so that you don't lose in losing your data. So that is the
Okay,
option that you have to define it like after 2 minutes it just save your data, so even if any network failure happens you don't lose your data. Once you start your particular process, like if you go here in studio and open any of your process, let's say for this it will showing a log here, right? Once you open it, it will come to the actual state till where you have worked on.
okay, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Karan,
Yeah.
Karan Venkatesh here.
Hey
For
Venkatesh. Yeah.
web-based applications, we are using IE.exe, right? So Chrome
Right.
also we can use it.
Chrome also you can use it, but I mean for now we are seeing a lot of problem with Chrome. It's not very stable. So,
Okay,
but Blue Prism is saying that they are coming up with some latest feature in after 6 version, in upcoming versions to make it more stable.
okay. So as of now, IE only can use.
Right. See, officially, if you go by official statement, like Blue Prism support IE browser only. Okay. But even if you go and try with Chrome browser, you can still do it. Okay.
Okay,
It's
okay.
not like the same application, you can still work on it, but just that it's not very stable.
Oh, okay, okay. Very
Yeah.
complex applications, we cannot do that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Another one thing, Karan. So I need some understanding about the production environment, how the production environment will be there. Okay. So we are developing the application through the process studio and we are creating the packages, right? So after that, how the package will run in the desktop and how the server will reaction between the desktop and the server like
So
that.
see, once you have created your package, right? So your
Yes.
package is nothing but will be in form of .bp release file, right? So the
Okay.
.bp release file that you have,
Okay.
let's say if I have this .bp release file here, where it is somewhere saved. Okay, so let's say if there is a .bp release file here, right? Uh,
Yes.
not this one. Somewhere I've added, okay, let's see, yeah, this one, data.bp release file. So this is the package file that you have created, and
Okay.
once you import that, right? So you have import and export option here. So once you go and import it into your the QA environment from the Blue Prism server, the
Okay.
particular BP release file will be available in your QA environment server. Now there you
Okay.
can go and start performing testing, and similarly you can deploy that into production. But you just have to make sure, like whenever you are making some new changes, right? So, and let's say you created a version 1 and deployed the version 1. Once now you are going and creating a version 2. So the version 2 should superimpose on version 1, which is there in QA environment, right? With the latest
Yeah.
changes.
Yes.
So as
So my
of
question
now,
here is that that
yeah,
robot will run in the desktop only, right? Each and every desktop only the robotics will run.
right. So you have different VMs created, right? So there will be main server, and through that main
Okay.
server, all the VMs are connected. Okay.
Okay.
Now
Okay.
you have scheduled my process. Let's say my process was the order management system into one robo. I mean, in one VM, VM1 to
Okay.
run on every day from this time to this time. So it will automatically be started and run in VM1.
Okay.
Okay,
So that means every VM is considered as the one robot. One
exactly.
robot license.
Right. So the one robo, I mean, one bot will be assigned to the particular VM, and then there will be one EPID. So EPID is nothing but the robo will have access to your application, right? Because let's say you are using some HR system management application, but in order to access it, it need to have access to particular application, right?
Yes.
Because everyone cannot have access to any other application in enterprise. So there will be a configuration team which will uh, do the configuration of your VMs and assign the EPIDs to the robos. So the robo will have access to your application, and then you once you deployed your process to the particular VM, and then you assign that robot to work on your particular process, it will take it from there.
Okay. And server also same like this for applications, right? In server, how it will be the server configuration, anything different or same studio,
Server
process
will be on
studio?
cloud. Server will be on cloud. So everything is on
Okay.
cloud setup. Yeah. So you have a main application server, and the application through application server, all your so you can see it as a master and all are slave, right? So master and slave configuration.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the server will be in cloud format. What any setup, different setup is there for server?
No, I mean there's no different setup. Server will also have all those Blue Prism and everything installed, right? And
Okay.
then you create a different instance in the different VMs, right? So these VMs are internally connected to your main server, and then how you assign the process to this particular VMs to run. So accordingly, it will take it. Like one VM you can say as one robo. Yeah.
Okay. So each and every VM we have to install the license.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So one like yeah, obviously, I mean the one robo you have like one bot is there, so one bot will have its own license. So
Okay. Correct. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so with this, I know we have tried to cover everything. I mean, let's see if there is anything else that you feel that you want to see. Then maybe we can take in tomorrow class, and then we'll open for mainly question and answer session, and then we can discuss if you have any doubts. And I will try to share the advanced consolidation exercise with all of you guys. I will share the .bp release file and then the PDF file which say usually it's not covered in the basic training, but it is some advanced. But I'll say that go through it, try to do step by step, see where you are getting stuck, what issue you are facing, and then maybe you can understand it in more better way. So I'll share the .bp release file and then the steps in order to do it, so it'll give you better idea and better view of doing it. All right guys, then let's convene for today, and then we'll come tomorrow. See.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks.